Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Gina Duvernay, and I am the Adult Services Manager for Gwinnett County Public Library. Thanks again for coming out. We are happy to partner with Read It Again Books, who's here selling copies of these beautiful, beautiful books. So if you want to grab one, you're welcome to. But afterwards, we'll have a book signing. So you can grab one and we'll have a book signing here afterwards. We also have some refreshments in the back that I think some of you missed because I don't see anybody eating any chips at all. And you're going to need, you did? Okay, take some for later. All right, and we also have a list of upcoming events on this table, so feel free to grab one of those flyers on your way out. Today, or this evening, we have moderating tonight's event is Allison Law. There she is. She's an experienced communications professional based in Atlanta, a self-proclaimed book evangelist and unapologetic author ally. Allison loves working with writers and publishing people. She has edited books and articles for the Bitter Southerner and regularly contributes to The Bookmark, a series on WABE's City Lights. Former, once upon a time, yes. She serves on advisory boards for committees for the Georgia Center of the Book and the Revival Lost Southern Voices Festival, an event she co-founded in 2017. And she will be in conversation with our featured author of the evening, Emily Carpenter. Where is she? There she is. She is a critically acclaimed best-selling author of suspense novels, Burying the Honeysuckle Girls, The Weight of Lies, and Every Single Secret. After graduating from Auburn with a Bachelor's of Arts in Speech Communication, she moved to New York City. She worked as an actor, producer, screenwriter, and the behind-the-scenes soap opera assistant for the CBS shows As the World Turns and Guiding Light. Born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, she now lives in Atlanta with her family. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah, you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, go.
I'm going to keep it, I'm going to keep it low because we're all friends here now. So, hey, everybody. Thanks for coming out on a good grief. Is it Wednesday yet?
Yeah,
okay,
it's
Wednesday
Wednesday.
night. Because yesterday was the publication date
Yes.
for a spell for saints and sinners. For some reason, I keep wanting to move sinners up above
You can
the
say it
saints.
however you want to.
Yeah.
I say it's like a lot of the new romantasy titles that follow the pattern of a bowl of mac and cheese. So it's a spell for saints and sinners.
Now everything is going to be mac
A
and
bowl
cheese
of
to
mac
me.
and cheese.
A bowl of
Yes.
mac and cheese. But I thought since we're here in Georgia and we have a Georgia crowd here, that before we talk about the people and the plot of the book, that we could talk about the setting of the book. So this book is set in Savannah. Do we have anybody here who's from Savannah?
No one.
That is interesting. Usually we have somebody here. We have people who have visited Savannah. Yes.
Yeah.
People who have just heard of Savannah but haven't made it 4 hours down the road. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's a good
So what do you know or what do you think of in a word or two when you think of Savannah? Ghosts. Did I hear alcohol too?
Well, yeah.
Ghosts and alcohol go well together. Seafood.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cemeteries. Spirits.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
literally. Yes.
Yes. And, it's almost become cliche now to say that a setting is a character. It's almost like it's a character in the book, but it really is a big part of this book.
Yeah.
So why did you set it in Savannah and what appealed to you about that setting?
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm so glad you're here. I love Savannah. And I would have been the person in this crowd that had said, I hadn't been there until I think the early 2000s I went, but I had already been living here like a good decade, and my niece was going to SCAD. And so we went to visit her. And so that was my first exposure. But I didn't make Savannah my own until I would say 5 years ago, I started attending the SCAD Film Festival.
Yes, you're going to have to tell me how you get into that because those are hard tickets to
Well,
get.
yeah, so this was my one trip a year that I went by myself because I love solo traveling and I'm a huge movie nerd and fan. And I would buy the golden platinum medallion tickets that get you in, on the first rows, and I would just see all the movies and look at all the bedazzled by the movie stars. But the other part was the rest of the time I spent exploring Savannah on my own and just wandering around. And so that's when it was that I first started falling in love with Savannah. And I would go back every year as excited to see the town as I was about the movies. And also I spent a lot of that time working on my books. So the next step was I tried to get my youngest son to go to SCAD.
Yes.
And he said, no, I would like to go to SCAD, but in Atlanta. And I was like, dude, why? Savannah, I could come visit you all the time. That didn't work. And then I tried to get my husband to move to Savannah, and he was like, no, that's like my
Were you going to go with him, or you
Yeah.
just want?
I was like, all of us, let's move. And he's like, no, honey, the office is in Roswell. And, so and then I thought, I could really set a book here. And when I just had to wait for the right idea to come. And then when I had the idea for Ingrid, my little sidewalk sidekick, as I call her, it was like the perfect match. I was like, there we go. There's my Savannah story.
Tell me about that. Is that who came to you first? The idea was you thought of Ingrid White first?
Yes, I did. I have the strangest sort of organic, the way this idea came about. Every time I tell people the story, they're like, that is really odd. But it'll give you an idea of how a writer's brain works. I'm a huge movie nerd and have seen a lot of movies, and my youngest son, loves movies even more than I do. And so he's like, well, have you seen all these Scorsese movies? Have you seen all the Coppola, like all the dude movies?
Yes.
And I had not seen Taxi Driver, so that was my homework. I had to watch Taxi Driver for my son. And I watched it, and oh wow, it's a great movie.
Definitely. I mean,
it's very intense. But I mean, I think what came of that viewing was I really started thinking about power and how people who are on the fringes of society, like Robert De Niro's character, the people that feel left out and isolated, what they do to gain power for themselves. And of course, in the movie, he collects weapons and does some other things. But I really started thinking, like, so what is the female version of Taxi Driver? Like, what? I started thinking of a character like that, who is on the fringes of society, not necessarily a bad person, but just kind of odd, maybe, and maybe has some stuff from her background, and that's kind of how it coalesced. And I started thinking, there is a certain allure to the power found in witchcraft and the spells and the rituals, and it's kind of a way for somebody and I'm not saying that anyone who has a practice is necessarily feeling powerless. But in my development of the character, I was seeing this young woman who was powerless and who had been taught by her grandmother this family tradition of kind of this homespun witchcraft, and really it bonded the two women, the grandmother and Ingrid, and it also gives her a way to operate in the world. And then later in the book, it gives her a way to kind of, I mean, really gain power and sort of put herself in places that she would have never imagined.
Yeah, I mean, instead of De Niro collecting guns so that he can exact revenge,
Yes.
you have someone who's using something that she inherited from her grandmother Edie.
Yes.
Because when we first get into the story, she has the townhouse, but she has no money to pay the tax
Yes.
bill, which is another way of looking at the power dynamics that are happening. Because in chapter 2, you write about the new Savannah and the older version of
Yes.
Savannah. Can you talk about the two versions that Ingrid knows growing up there?
Yeah, and I think if you talk to anybody from Savannah, they talk about it as well. When I was just doing my research, just casual research, they all talk about the book that came out in the 90s called In the Garden of Good and Evil.
Yeah.
When that book came out, it changed Savannah forever. Up till then, Savannah was almost kind of its own little world hidden away from people. And once that book came out and was so popular, it kind of painted this picture of Savannah both accurately and romantically, you know, as a place of just these oddball characters and like all these kind of colorful on the fringe people. And so that brought the tourism. And with the tourism came the money, and with the money came, you know, the corporate, came the chain restaurants and the, you
Right.
know, the corporate hotels, and just sort of changed the landscape of the city. So Ingrid is young. She's 23. She hadn't seen it happen so much, but just in her past, her like older years. And she talks about that Edie, her grandmother, was operating as a psychic back in those old days, when there were still, you know, these crazy parties and all the colorful antics. Yeah.
Yes, and instead of the performative or the Hollywood version or the book
Right.
version of
Right.
what Savannah was as, you know, revelers and everything.
Yes. And now Ingrid feels like, you know, she lives in a Savannah that is very divided. There is the very wealthy, and then there is the service class, the people that take care of the tourist and keep the town running. And, you know, they're kind of the lifeblood, and those are her people. And they all kind of hang out together and support each other.
Yeah. In one of the first readings that Ingrid does in the book, the woman asks her, are you a psychic? And she says, no, I'm a psychic witch.
Yes.
So what is a psychic witch, and how did you find out about witchcraft?
I found out about being a psychic witch by like reading about it, but because I did not grow up, like I grew up extremely Christian, religious, like don't go to a psychic, don't do witchcraft. And, but I was, since I knew I was creating this character, and I had told my editor when I pitched the book, I said, look, I'm not doing practical magic here. There's not going to be like Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock and raising people from the dead from a book of spells. That's fun.
Yes, maybe in the next book.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. But I wanted to represent somebody who actually had a practice of witchcraft and took it seriously. And so I just started researching, and I read a lot of books and almost like how to, you know, and I read a memoir by Diana Helmuth about it called The Witching Year, where she spent a year doing like exploring witchcraft.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a great book. I highly recommend it. It's really well done. And I just like, I went on Reddit And I just tried to figure out, like, who are these people that actually, practice a daily sort of witchcraft? And there's all these different kinds, and it's very complex. And I became, I wanted to respect these people, and I became very intimidated that maybe I wouldn't be able to do it well. So I will say there was two women read the book who have practices, and they were like,
Wow.
we were wondering if you were a witch. And I was like,
Huh.
oh, good.
Oh,
That
that's
means
a
I got
good-
it right.
yeah.
Like, I'm not. I did decide as I was reading, like, all that's involved. It's extremely complicated and complex. And I was like, this is too hard for me. I can't do this. So, but I talked all that, and now I
So
can't
you had
remember
two
the
women
questions.
who actually practice witchcraft, who reviewed the book.
I said,
and they,
how did I?
Yeah.
How did I do? And both of them gave me the thumbs up and said
Fantastic.
that they felt like it was good. But I just want. So you asked about which psychic. So
Yeah.
in my research, some people are just psychics. Some people are just witches, but sometimes it flows over. But Ingrid actually psychically reads people's auras and palms, but then she also does spells and rituals. So she's
Yes.
both.
She has her own ritual room, and she
Yes.
does.
Yeah. The things that her grandmother teaches her, this kind of light-based witchcraft where,
Yeah.
So.
But she does use her powers, what she knows, what she learned from Edie, to make a living. And so she comes quickly into another thing that you see a lot of in Savannah, which are bachelorette parties.
Oh, yeah.
She has a whole group of women come in to do readings because one of the women is getting married, and that's how she runs into Sailor. Will you tell us about? Is it
Yes.
Leffler? Sailor Leffler? Is that how
Sailor
you-
Loeffler.
Loeffler.
So Sailor Loeffler is getting married. She is the daughter of the wealthiest family in Savannah. And this family, the Loeffler family, is famous for this thing they created called Savannah sauce. And it's like, somebody asked me, my husband was like, what is Savannah sauce? And I'm like, it's like Chick-fil-A sauce, or, the best barbecue sauce mixed with Chick-fil-A sauce, mixed with, wing sauce, whatever your
Yeah.
heart desires it to be is what it is. But it's a condiment that, has made them buku money. And so Ingrid does a reading for Sailor and just nails it. And Sailor's like kind of a little princess, a little spoiled, poor little rich girl.
Yes.
And feeling kind of sorry for herself. And what she sees in Ingrid is something that she needs, which is like somebody who's going to be truthful with her and honest, and somebody who sees her for who she is.
But at the same time, Ingrid is instantly like, there's something about Sailor
Oh, yeah.
that immediately attracts her. Like, she's really drawn to her, really interested in her. And it's not just because this is the Loeffler family that she's
Right.
dealing with.
She's almost forgotten that they're, this like high status family. And it really is this book is kind of a story of obsession in a way. And I think what kicks in Ingrid in that moment is also being seen. Like the way she sees Sailor sees her and her gifts, and basically tells her, you're wonderful, you've made my day, come to my engagement party. And I think Ingrid feels seen and loved and wanted for the first time. But there is a little bit of this obsession, like, this is maybe the girl I want to be, or I wish I could be, and that I'm not. And if I can get close to that, glow, maybe some of that light will reflect on me. And I'm just thinking, like, part of that kind of homespun witchcraft her grandmother taught her about is
Yeah.
light-based. And I think she sees light in Sailor in
Mm.
that way. You know how people can emit, there's some people that walk into a room and you're just like, you look at them. And I think Sailor's like that.
Right. It's a strange friendship that they develop too, because as you said, Sailor immediately invites her to her engagement party at the Hardy
Yeah, the
mansion.
big house where they live.
And like they're saying, give us your bank account information because we're going to put you on retainer, just like the esthetician, and
Yeah.
the masseuse and all, you know, how
Everybody
we do.
else.
And so, yes, that they're being drunk on that power of being seen, like her introducing her to all of these wealthy people who are saying, we're gonna, you know, start paying you. It's got to
Yeah.
be an incredible feeling, but it's also there's something going on underneath that
Yeah.
she's also aware of.
She's like, I mean, instantly Ingrid feels like, oh, my money woes are over. My
Mhm.
tax bill is paid. They're going to fix everything in this crumbling townhouse that my grandmother left me. I don't have to worry anymore. And it's a huge, you know, it's a boulder off of her. But I think as time progresses, I think each Ingrid and Sailor start to realize maybe the other one is using me a little bit. Maybe this isn't so innocent and
Mhm.
unselfish. You
Yeah,
know?
it feels like I'm mutually,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
mutually obsessed with each other.
Yes, exactly. In healthy and unhealthy ways, I
Yeah.
think. And then also as Ingrid comes into the family, she meets Sailor's younger brother, who's very, he's a little odd himself, and I think
Cass.
Cass,
Mhm.
and I think they connect over their mutual oddness and outsider status. And she kind of gets a crush on him, and Ingrid also meets the parents, Scoot and Rill, who
Yeah, I
are
love the names in this book because they're so Savannah,
Yeah.
and they're so, you know, the upper echelon. All they, you know, I used to know someone whose name was Presh.
Yes,
You know, like
exactly.
that was
Yes,
they all
Fresh.
had
Little nicknames.
endearing names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Scoot and Rill they are, yes, a pair.
Yes, they
Yes.
are a pair, and they start to reveal themselves, and this is where all of the ghosts and all of the things that
Yes.
start to kind of unfold, lurk beneath that really shiny exterior.
Yeah.
One of the things that I also like about your books, Emily, is that you explore a lot of feminine relationships, particularly relationships between not just grandmothers, but mothers. You know, Ingrid didn't know her mother. Her mother, Tess, dropped her off. And then she had, you know, this beautiful relationship with Edie, but that also comes across in the book. You know, it's awful when we realize that the people that are most important to us are flawed
Yes.
and have kept things from us as well.
Yes. Yeah, and I do write about that. I write about mothers and daughters alike. And yes, Tess basically abandoned Ingrid, and she did have a loving relationship with Edie, but then Edie got very sick when Ingrid was 18 and died. And there are some things as Ingrid is drawn into the Loeffler family, she immediately realizes that Edie had a connection to the Loefflers that she never told Ingrid about. And this connection is very fraught and full of secrets and has many layers and dimensions. And so part of the book is sort of the fallout from all that, and Ingrid trying to discover what really happened between Scoot and Rill and Edie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we won't tell you what
No,
that
we
is
won't.
because we want you to read the story. And it's so satisfying too because these are some, I mean, it's obvious that Emily has a background writing, script writing, and is a complete movie nerd too because, I mean, this reads like a movie. I can definitely see
Yeah.
it happening. The chapters are like these short, propulsive scenes. But I also love the details that you put in about Savannah, about the architecture, about the weird art. I keep thinking about the sexy Mr. Tumnus.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a real drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like a centaur,
Centaur,
portrait. You know,
yeah.
you get some of these weird pieces of art, but that definitely stuck with me. That was my favorite
Yeah.
Narnia illusion.
Yeah.
So, what part? How do you write this? Like, how does you get the initial idea about Ingrid,
Mhm.
then you decide to set it in Savannah,
Uh-huh.
and then how does the story unfold for you? Do you outline it? Do you write it as you go?
I do a kind of a big picture outline. I write like script writing. I follow a Sid Field, the 3-act, screenplay guide, where you have 3 acts. You have a turning point after that leads you from Act 1 into Act 2. You have a midpoint, and then you have another turning point. And then I always kind of make sure that each of my acts have very specific tones and settings to them. I also think about it cinematically in terms of having set pieces. Like, for instance, I will say there is a fire at one point. I won't tell you what burns, but I think about those big set pieces and like how I want it to go. And then I start, I'm thinking about the characters and I'm playing music in my car. I create a set list,
Playlist, yeah.
playlist, and like on Spotify, it's songs that like get me into the mood. And like, so once I have the outline ready, I have the setting, I have the character, I have to get the character names too to make sure that. And then it's like, and then I just hit the ground running, and then I write my brains out, and I write at least 2,000 words every single day. It's like a momentum thing in
Is
that
it all
first
just
draft.
like stream of consciousness, or is that 2,000 edited words? Because that's pretty amazing. Okay.
It's more stream of consciousness. I'm trying not to let it be messy, but it is kind of shaggy. And 2,000 is the minimum. Sometimes I have a lot more if it's a good day, and sometimes I'm just like clawing my way towards 2,000. But like that momentum thing is very important to me because it's like I'm in the story. And it's the music, it's the smell of Savannah, it's, and it's a heady experience. And that is really fun to me. Now, when I'm done, put it away, go and like do laundry, go back to my life, play with my dogs.
It is
whatever.
kind of anticlimactic, huh?
Yeah.
When you finish, it's like, oh, okay, what
it's
do I
great.
do?
You're like, oh, I just ran a marathon. I'm exhausted. And then like, this is the worst part. When you open that document and you're like, oh boy, here we go. And you just sit down and you start to read it and you're like, oh, that's awful. Or, one character has 3 different names or 3 different eye colors and then you'll hit a paragraph and you'll go, I don't even remember writing that. That's great. Like, so it's this like, but like I said, it's very shaggy. And so it takes me a lot of edits, but usually I can finish a book in like a month and a half. I mean, I've finished a book in a month, the shortest, and like probably 2.5 months, the longest, for the first draft.
Wow.
Yeah. So
No, I'm still impressed. So tell me about this playlist. What's on the What songs
like
kind of?
songs that I put in the book
Mhm.
are on there. Songs that tonally make me feel like about Savannah, make me feel like Southern Gothic-ish songs. Songs that make me feel like I'm walking through Colonial Park Cemetery, which I did,
Mhm.
and I went on ghost tours there. I also went to see a psychic.
I wondered if you had
Yeah,
gone
I
to have
did
your
for the
palm
first
or
time
aura.
ever.
Yeah.
I went to see a psychic, and he's a psychic witch as well. And and we had a reading, and I was very nervous beforehand. I was like, God, don't be mad at me. I'm about to go see a psychic.
Yes.
And it was a very accurate reading. So I'll just say that. I was like,
Do you feel
"What?"
like your preconceptions or what you learned through your research process and through writing this book changed your ideas about?
Well, the one thing that I did discover through my research, which kind of made me laugh, was that I felt like I've had like a really, I'm a seeker in
Mhm.
terms of spirituality. And so I have been to a lot of different churches in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And, uh, and it was very interesting how the practice of witchcraft intersected with some of the Christian traditions that I have, like, yeah, that was very interesting to me. And I just thought that it was, the human experience, we do kind of gravitate to the same um, things.
Yeah.
We're just not that original. We're just we go back to those same kind of issues of, if I just do this list of 4 things in this order, then everything's going to work out for me.
Mhm.
And I have experienced that in my experience of religion and spirituality, and that is definitely something found in paganism, witchcraft, and that kind of stuff too, which I just found very interesting. I was
Mhm.
like, humanity.
Yes.
We're just simple people who just want things. And we want to have happy lives. We don't want to fight the universe or God. We want to get in line with it. And no matter what angle you're coming from, you're just like trying to like figure out what the bigger picture is.
Yeah.
And so for me, it just gave me compassion
Mhm.
and understanding for, and it's not my thing, but I loved learning about it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, the common denominator is like you said, we're human. We're, our common humanity.
we're human, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. As much as a psychic may have an idea, it's not clear, and they don't know for sure. And, as much as I just found that fascinating. We all want to know, like, what is on the other side? What is God really like? What is, going to happen to me tomorrow?
Mhm.
And how can I keep something bad from happening to me and make sure it's good?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I have also had many moments in my life where I'm really glad I didn't know things were going to happen that
Yeah.
way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's
Yeah.
another thing that you explore too. I read that when you first started writing books, that you were writing in the genre of romantic comedies.
Yeah.
And that didn't really work. Like,
I don't think they were that funny. So, first of all, that's a problem.
yeah.
In rom-com, part of that is calm.
Yeah.
And I was not very good. No, I just think it wasn't, that book it didn't hit, and it
Yeah.
didn't get me an agent. It got a lot of rejections, but I think that particular book taught me how to write a book, and I call it my MFA. But I put it in a drawer, but then one of the main things agents would say to me about that book was like, we don't know exactly is it a romance? Is it women's fiction? Is it it was chick lit at the time
Okay.
that chick lit's kind of over, maybe. And I didn't know what it was. I was like, you tell me what you think it is.
Right. I mean, those are all marketing terms,
Yeah.
right?
But so that's what I was learning, that like, you don't only write a book, you have to know what it is. and you have to know how to sell it. And so that was the whole business side of writing that I wasn't aware of. So before I wrote my next book, I thought long and hard about what is the genre, because the next time I go pitch this to an agent, I'm going to tell them exactly what the genre is. I'm going to know exactly what this is. And so I thought about it, and I was like, I'm going to write psychological suspense, because
Okay.
that's what I love to watch. Movies, TV. When I was a kid, I liked mysteries and, slow burn, little scary, little bit of horror, thrown in there. And so that was kind of
Yeah. The other genre that you have adopted or that has been used to market your books is Southern Gothic.
right. Well, that I didn't realize. I didn't realize I was writing Southern Gothic, because I thought that was like William Faulkner and Flannery O'Connor. And I was like,
Well,
well, I'm
that's
not
what I was
them.
going to ask you is
Yeah.
were you familiar with that tradition before you started?
Well, yeah,
writing
I
darker
was
books?
familiar, but I didn't think that I didn't associate it with myself or my books. And then a friend of mine, author friend of mine, Kim Brock,
Yeah.
said, "Oh, well, you write Southern Gothic," and I was like, "Do I though?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's like old houses, crumbling mansions, death and decay, oddball, grotesque characters, straight like darkness." And, and I was like, oh, sins of the past. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I write Southern Gothic. I was like, I just thought that's how I was raised in Alabama.
No, yeah, I thought that
like,
was just
that's my family.
growing up in
Yeah,
in
growing
the
up
South,
in Alabama.
right?
And but yeah, so I didn't realize that was part of the fabric of the stories that I had been attracted to and been told as a child. And, that was just like the heat and humidity and the history,
Mhm.
of my family. And so I can't get away from it. It's endlessly fascinating to me. So I think there is Southern Gothic is not just William Faulkner, it's new stuff. And it's also like moving into horror, and it's moving into like other new voices telling their stories, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
I was
Yeah.
going to ask you, who are some of your favorite Southern Gothic writers? You already mentioned Kimberly Brock.
She's great.
Her most recent book was The Fabled Earth.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And Attica Locke is one of my favorites.
TV writer as well.
Yeah. And she, she's just really good. Every one of her books is good. And S.A. Cosby is the other one. I mean, I feel like, and he's probably the most visible, like, news. And
Are you all familiar with S.A. Cosby? They're actually
Oh,
shooting
my gosh.
where the sinners bleed.
Yeah, All Sinners Bleed.
All sinners bleed.
Holy cow.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's about a sheriff in North Carolina, and it is pure Southern Gothic, but it's like contemporary, modern, and it's electrifying.
Yeah.
So, like, those are my two new
Yes.
favorites.
Yes.
And I'm reading King of Ashes now, which is
Oh
like,
my gosh.
it's so scary. It's a little violent. I'm like, oh my God.
No, it's definitely violent.
It's
set
scary.
in a funeral home.
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
About all you. That's about all I can say about it.
In
Yeah.
a crematorium.
Yeah, a crematorium,
Okay.
yeah.
And so, yeah.
So what is it that you think we're attracted to as readers in thriller, in the darker stories, in those hot and humid, haunted places?
I don't know for sure. And I think about that a lot because that's what I write. And sometimes I get sad and I want to write a happy story
Yeah.
where nobody dies.
Yes.
Which I actually did. I wrote a novella for my husband specifically because he is like, oh my gosh, everything is so dark and murdery in your books. And I said, I'm going to write you a happy story.
He was starting to get concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's been concerned for a long time. But I don't know. I think about that a lot. And I have come to the conclusion that for me, I am a person I'm one of those people like I guess in the early tribes, I was the person that was scanning the horizon for danger. You know what I mean? I was the anxiety ridden, like, you know.
Like the one meerkat who's watching out for everybody else? Like, okay.
That's me.
Yes.
And I think that somehow when I read a story that is fraught with danger and that has darkness, I know it's going to end okay. I know the bad guy is somehow going to be caught or get his or her comeuppance, and I know that the hero is going to win most of the time, you know. And that helps my brain, that reassures something inside me that in the end, good wins and evil does not. And that is a comforting thought to me. And I think my brain enjoys reading stories where people go through hard things and come out on the other side. And I think, honestly, I think it's practice for our brains because we all have to face life. We're all going in one direction, and we are all going to have to face the end. We face people getting sick and dying, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
But I almost think it's practice for our brains to say, I can get through this. I can live through this. And that's why people love to read a book about like Jack Reacher punching the heck out of everybody. It's the best feeling. You're like, yes, we get it, you know. And even I read that and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can punch people. But it just gives your brain that feeling like, yes, good can win over evil.
It gives you permission to strike back at the things that are out of our control.
Right. Yeah. So that's my theory.
Yeah, I like that theory. Gina, do we have time for questions or are we wrapping up? We do have time for questions. Yes, sir.
Actually, I have two. First, since you write 2001 today, do you like to end in the middle of something so you already know it's starting to finish? Or do you finish something and then start something new on the next day?
Yeah, that's a great question because I don't follow the advice. So I don't know whose advice it was, if it was like a Stephen King writing thing, but they always say like, don't end on a chapter, like start the next one. And I'm like, no. My little Virgo brain does not like that. I'm like, I got to end on the chapter and I will start a new chapter tomorrow. So I love to like get out a scene, and that can be one chapter or it can be 3 chapters, but like a scene is a bigger kind of thing in my brain, and I like to start it and finish it. It doesn't always work out that way, but I write very linearly. I don't jump around typically and write the end. That just, no.
No, ma'am.
Virgo brain.
Did you say you had it?
Well, I can wait.
Oh, no, go ahead.
From one Auburn grad to another, what's your favorite Auburn memory?
Oh, the day I met Bo Jackson. And he had his shirt off. So that was, sorry. I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, I mean, sorry, that was my best memory. Don't tell my husband who I met at Auburn.
Oh no, you're
my
only
best memory
double
was,
mic'd, but
My fraternity house, the day Bo Jackson showed up at one of our parties, is the most printed picture in the history of the fraternity.
Oh yeah. He's a lovely person and was very polite. I dated a football player and a baseball player, so they were playing baseball together. And I was like, forget you, boyfriend. I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I loved Auburn. Oh my goodness.
I just have to say, go Dogs.
Oh, and my son goes to Georgia, so go Dogs. I'm
Equal airtime.
I'm all, you know.
All right, I want to go back to setting. All right, aside from the film festival, What's your favorite place or thing to do in Savannah? And
That's a great question.
is it in here? That location or that thing, is it in this book?
Yes, Monterey Square is my favorite square, and that is hopefully I always get the squares mixed up. Even though
They
I've
have a lot of squares
been
in
there
Savannah.
100 times, it's like Madison. Blah, 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 blah. I'm pretty sure Monterey is the one. It's not the one where the Loefflers live, but it's the Mercer House one, right?
Okay.
And there's I love sitting in that square, and there's azalea bushes, and I think I have Ingrid hiding.
Yes.
Because she's like stalking Sailor and Cass and following them. And
Thank goodness for azaleas in springtime, right?
yes. And I also loved going on the ghost tour. I had the best fun because I have her friend.
Miles is the ghost tour operator.
Miles runs her friend, Ingrid's friend, Miles runs a ghost tour. And so I went on a ghost tour, and when we got to the Mercer house, it was me and a bunch of like 20-year-olds, and they started talking about the Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil and the shooting that happened at the Mercer house, and none of them knew anything about it. They were like, what shooting? What? And the guy was like, well, I worked for the Savannah PD, and I was on a call that night, and I was on that call reporting to and I was like,
oh, you were like,
forget the rest of these people. Let's you and me talk.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that was so interesting. So I love a ghost tour, love the Colonial Park Cemetery. I have my great-great-grandmother and grandfather are buried there. I couldn't find their headstones, but, and their names are, my great-great-grandmother, Clementine Remington, if you can believe it.
I love that. Yes.
That was her real name. She's buried in Colonial Park Cemetery. And she is, in this book, her first name, Clemmy. And Remington is also, I have a lot of relatives' names in there. So,
yeah. This says on my copy that the noble Hardy mansion where the Loefflers lived presided over the corner of West Gordon and Bull Street on Monterey Square.
Monterey.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So
that
that's
is
your.
right. See, I always get it wrong.
I don't know.
Can't remember.
I can't keep up with them. You just walk a couple of blocks down, you're at a new one.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and Taylor Square, where Ingrid lives, is a favorite. It's really peaceful and beautiful. And I sat there for a long time trying to figure out which house was going to be Ingrid's house. And I didn't describe it exactly like the one that's there because I didn't want to use somebody's real house. So I kind of made up a different house. But that was really fun to just sit. And I walked Ingrid's path where she walks down to Forsyth Park and the fountain and down to Starland where all the little restaurant trucks are, food trucks.
Any more questions?
Yeah.
I write poetry, but do you notice that sometimes you take a character and you're going, okay, I'm going to go over here, and the character goes, no, over here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're going in a whole new.
Yes. Yes. And that happened with this book specifically when I pitched this book and I had this idea. I really wanted to make Ingrid a anti-heroine, like bad. Like I wanted her to be doing like bad things, like more in control. And I couldn't write her that way. She just would, it ended up, I wrote a chapter like she's bullied in elementary school because the kids are making fun of her for being a witch, for her grandmother, for being, and she gets bullied and she thinks her neighbors don't like her because they're religious. And my heart started going out to her and I was like,
Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy.
no, you're not crazy. Stories.
It's sort of like, okay.
Yeah, stories take the path they're going to take, and you got to go with it. And I consider that, the inspiration and just going with it and trusting the muse. Yeah. Yeah.
How long do you research your book before you start putting words to paper? And as you're researching, does it ever change your story? You find something more interesting as researching and saying, "Oh, I want to put this or go off with that part."
Yeah, always. I research before, during, and during the book, because I'll always hit something where I go, oh, I kind of want this to happen, but I don't really know about that or how that's gonna work. There is like, say, for instance, Sailor's fiance, Jude Etris, is he's kind of this rich British hotelier, and he owns a yacht. I once stepped onto a yacht owned by Ray Kroc's widow
What?
because we knew a crew member, and he was like, "Come on, and we like stepped on, and immediately it was like, "Woo, woo, woo, get off the boat." So that was in New York, and they had parked the yacht down at Battery Park, the marina down there, and but I have never been on a yacht, so I don't know. So I'm like, looking around, yeah.
It's a TV show going.
Oh.
Yeah, tell us about the.
There's no TV show for A Spell for Saints and Sinners, but Gothic Town is optioned to AMC TV. And they are writing the script. Abby Ajayi, who worked on Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder and some other fabulous shows. She's working on the script. And I just keep like checking in and going, I'm here. How's it going, guys? So that's all.
Yeah, is that a weird thing to kind of have someone else take over the?
No, not at all.
You're like,
Have it. Take it.
You may have it and make it wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I would not be the right person to adapt because it's two different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh? Oh,
Not at all.
No, I've watched everything she's done. So, yeah.
Thank you for the book and